a 19th-century American farmer. His plow, cutting deep furrows through the rich frontier soil, struck something hard beneath the earth. It was a bone too massive to belong to any man he knew. He could not have known that this discovery, echoed by countless others across the continent, would soon confront a rigid doctrine of human history. This doctrine was already forming in distant halls of academic power. Within a single century, hundreds of such colossal remains, unearthed from ancient mounds and valleys, would vanish. They disappeared without a trace from official records. Across the globe, from earliest Sumerian texts to oral traditions of Amazonian tribes, humanity has whispered of beings far larger than themselves. These beings towered above the trees, stronger than any beast. Historians often dismiss these universal accounts as collective fantasies. They consider them symbolic myths embellished for narrative flair. However, some argue that unlike mere fables, these stories left tangible traces in the earth. In 1848, a congressman named Abraham Lincoln, then far from the presidency, sailed past Niagara Falls. His diary entry from that journey speaks volumes. It was a quiet challenge to the prevailing historical narrative of his time. He wrote, "The eyes of that extinct race of giants, whose bones fill the mounds of America, gazed upon Niagara." He added, "As we gaze now, Lincoln, like many of his contemporaries, saw no reason to question the existence of giants. For them, the evidence was undeniable. Farmers routinely unearthed these immense bones on their own lands. Newspapers published accounts of such finds with the same routine frequency as weather forecasts. To truly grasp the profound imprint of giants on human memory, one must delve not into modern textbooks. Instead, one must look into the world's most ancient writings. Sumerian tablets, over 4,000 years old, describe kings of astounding stature. Some reached 4.5 meters in height, recorded as real rulers with specific reigns. The Sumerian king list from Nippur recounts dynasties where single monarchs ruled for tens of thousands of years. The physical descriptions of these leaders leave little doubt as to their non-human scale. The gods of Sumer, the Anunnaki, were consistently depicted twice the size of ordinary humans. They were shown on reliefs effortlessly, holding lions as if they were mere kittens. While this could be interpreted as artistic license, it becomes harder to explain. The very same proportions appear in Egyptian bas reliefs and Indian temple carvings. They also appear in the rock art of Australian Aboriginals, cultures entirely isolated from Sumer or Egypt. The Bible, a cornerstone of Western civilization, mentions giants in at least 12 different books. This extends far beyond the familiar tale of Goliath. The book of Genesis contains a phrase that has puzzled theologians for centuries. It states, "There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that." This occurred when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. These giants were called the Nephilim. This word is often translated as those who were cast down, or those who descended from above. The Book of Enoch, a text excluded from the canonical Bible in the 4th century, offers a far more detailed account. It describes 200 watchers, or sub-archangels, descending upon Mount Hermon. They took human wives, and from these unions, beings of colossal strength were born. The text claims their height to be 300 cubits. By ancient Hebrew measure, this equates to an astonishing 135 meters. While such a figure seems extreme, even a reduction by a factor of 10 would still be significant. This would place them at an imposing 13 meters tall. Enoch was removed from the canon, not because it was considered a forgery. Fragments were later discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran. But its content did not align with a new doctrine. Humanity was presented as the sole intelligent inhabitant of Earth. From Greek titans and giants, two distinct races emerged. One was wise and ancient, the other wild offspring of the earth. Norse Jotun were ice giants, predating creation. The towering Rakshasas of the Indian Mahabharata hurled entire trees in battle. They could also change their form at will, The Navajo people tell of Yetzo, the man-eating giant. His dried blood is said to have formed the lava flows near Mount Taylor in New Mexico. Flows geologists confirm have an unusual mineral composition. If these narratives were confined to just 2 or 3 cultures, one might attribute it to myth diffusion via ancient trade routes. But when entirely isolated civilizations describe the same beings, with such striking similarities in detail, it becomes challenging to dismiss as mere coincidence. Let us now turn from ancient texts to physical remains. For it is here that this story truly becomes an archaeological mystery. In 1911, guano miners worked in Lovelock Cave, Nevada. They uncovered a burial site beneath millennia of dust. It contained human remains of unusual proportions. Some skulls still bore strands of coarse, reddish hair. The local Paiute tribe was not surprised. Their oral traditions spoke of the sea, Tika. These were red-haired, cannibalistic giants of immense stature, who came from the sea. These beings hunted humans as prey. The war against them lasted for generations. Combined tribes drove the last giants into that very cave. They set fire to the entrance, sealing them inside forever. Archaeologist Llewellyn Lode conducted excavations in 1912. He meticulously documented findings, which included abnormally large sandals. Also found were baskets of disproportionately vast weaving. Some artifacts found their way to the Nevada State Museum, where they remain today. The skeletons themselves mysteriously dispersed into private collections and university basements. Lovelock Cave was not an isolated incident, but a common occurrence in 19th century America. Newspapers of the era frequently reported on giant skeletons. So much so, it became almost routine. In 1883, the St. Paul Daily Globe reported a skeleton. It was over 2.5 meters tall, discovered in a Minnesota mound. This story evoked little surprise from its readers. County historians detail hundreds of mound excavations in the Ohio Valley. The same unsettling pattern consistently emerged: massive skulls with double rows of teeth. Femurs were of abnormal length. Copper ornaments were too large for an adult human hand. In Morgan County archives, a 2.4-meter skeleton was recorded. Its jaws suggested an entirely different species. Alongside these remains were elaborate textiles and thousands of freshwater pearls. Copper armor was also found, sourced from the Great Lakes. This suggested a sophisticated trade network and complex social hierarchy. So, what happened to all these bones, discovered by the hundreds for over a century? The answer lies with John Wesley Powell. He was director of the Bureau of American Ethnology. This was at the Smithsonian Institution in the late 19th century. Powell established a doctrine that profoundly shaped the fate of these findings. He insisted human evolution was strictly linear. No advanced civilizations existed before indigenous peoples. Anything contradicting this model was dismissed as a hoax, or a measurement error, or a pathology like acromegaly. The government favored a narrative during westward expansion. It was of an empty continent inhabited by primitive nomads. Acknowledging an ancient civilization of giants would destabilize the ideological basis for seizing indigenous lands. The Smithsonian Institution systematically removed findings, promising to study them. The artifacts would then disappear without a trace into their vast storerooms. Researcher Richard Dewhurst documented over 1,000 newspaper publications. These detailed giant skeletons across the United States over a century. Yet, not a single one of these recorded skeletons is available for independent examination today. This silence speaks with an eloquence that transcends any official statement. Now, let us leave the bones and turn to stone. For the architecture these alleged giants left behind speaks louder than any skeleton. In Baalbek, Lebanon, the foundation of the Temple of Jupiter contains 3 colossal stones, known to the Romans as the Trilithon. Each of these blocks weighs approximately 800 tons. Nearby, in the quarry, lies an unfinished monolith weighing over 200 tons. Official archaeology attributes this construction to the Romans of the 1st century. Yet no Roman treatise describes the movement of 1,000-ton blocks. The most powerful Roman crane as described by Vitruvius, could lift a maximum of 6 tons. With dozens of workers, to move a 200-ton block would require an estimated 40,000 people, who simply could not physically fit around the stone. A modern Bella Z mining truck carries 450 tons, meaning 3 such vehicles would be needed for a single Trilithon block. Why carve a stone that is impossible to move with existing means? This question makes sense only with one assumption. To those who carved them, these blocks were manageable. If one imagines a builder 10 or 12 meters tall, with corresponding musculature, an 800-ton stone becomes the equivalent of a simple cinder block. Megalithic architecture across the planet poses a singular riddle, the enigma of scale. At Sacsayhuaman, a fortress above Cusco, the walls are constructed from blocks weighing up to 120 tons, fitted so precisely that a knife blade cannot pass between them. The steps at Sacsayhuaman are half a meter high, inconvenient for an average person, yet ideal for a being 3 or 4 meters tall. Doorways in the temples of Maltafar exceed the dimensions necessary for ordinary humans. These Maltese temples date back to the 3rd millennium BC, when the island's population numbered only a few thousand. The builders of these temples vanished without a trace, leaving no graves or descendants, as if they dissolved into the air once their work was complete. In Egypt, the mystery takes on a different hue. As we descend into the Serapeum of Saqqara, within narrow tunnels stand granite sarcophagi, each weighing 70 tons, carved with such precision that their walls are polished to an optical level. The gap between a sarcophagus and its niche is a mere 40 centimeters, leaving no room for levers or workers. How were 70-ton boxes brought into tunnels where 2 people can barely pass? How were they covered with 30-ton lids without hydraulics, cranes, or winches? Official Egyptology attributes this to lost methods, yet no experimental evidence has ever been provided. Intriguingly, when Auguste Muriet discovered the Serapeum in 1850, all the sarcophagi were empty. Whoever once lay within had vanished, leaving these granite capsules to stand as silent witnesses to some ancient presence. A separate chapter in this story belongs to a science that often dismisses the existence of human giants, yet readily acknowledges the existence of giant primates. In 1935, German paleoanthropologist Gustav von Königswald purchased an enormous tooth in a Hong Kong market, which traders called a dragon's tooth. This tooth belonged to a creature named Gigantopithecus, the largest primate in Earth's history. Gigantopithecus stood up to 3 meters tall and weighed around 500 kilograms, inhabiting the forests of Southeast Asia until its extinction approximately 100,000 years ago. This means a Gigantopithecus coexisted with Homo erectus and, likely, early Homo sapiens. Science readily accepts a 3-meter ape, but categorically rejects a 3-meter human. The paleontological record, however, is replete with examples of gigantism across all branches of life without exception. In Siberia, at Denisova Cave in the Altai Mountains, the remains of another enigmatic branch of humanity were found. Denisovans possessed massive jaws and teeth, significantly larger than those of modern humans. Alongside their bones, a bracelet made of chlorit, bearing traces of lathe drilling, was discovered, dated to approximately 50,000 years ago, a level of stoneworking typically associated with much later eras. Denisovans left a genetic footprint in the DNA of Tibetans, Papuans, and Australian Aboriginals, with Denisovan genes notably enabling Tibetans to thrive at altitudes above 4,000 meters, where ordinary humans struggle to breathe. If one branch of humanity was larger and stronger than us, why could not another, even larger one, have existed? The common skeptical counter-argument often appeals to physics. A large body cannot support its own weight. Yet, this argument holds true only under current conditions, and planetary conditions have not always been as they are today. A hypothesis suggests that the gigantism of ancient creatures was not solely genetic, but environmental. In the distant past, Earth's atmosphere may have been significantly denser, with oxygen levels reaching 35% compared to today's 21%. Paleontologists confirm that during the Carboniferous period, dragonflies grew up to 70 centimeters, and millipedes reached 2.5 meters. Insects breathe through trachea. Under low atmospheric pressure, oxygen cannot reach the deeper tissues of a large body. Therefore, giant insects are physically impossible in our modern atmosphere, but were common in the distant past. The same principle applies to vertebrates. In an environment with higher pressure and oxygen, bones are stronger. Metabolism is more efficient, and regeneration is faster. Modern hyperbaric medicine supports this effect, using pressurized chambers to accelerate wound healing. If these data are extrapolated to an entire geological era, a height of 3 or 4 meters ceases to be an anomaly and becomes a biological norm. Ancient texts, from the Bible to the Indian Vedas, describe people living for hundreds of years. In conditions of constant oxygen saturation, this longevity gains an unexpected scientific explanation. Now, let us leave the bones and turn to stone. For the architecture these alleged giants left behind speaks louder than any skeleton. In Baalbek, Lebanon, the foundation of the Temple of Jupiter contains 3 colossal stones, known to the Romans as the Trilithon. Each of these blocks weighs approximately 800 tons. Some researchers propose the existence of a primordial water vapor canopy in the upper layers of the ancient atmosphere. Such a layer would have created a greenhouse effect, providing a warm climate from pole to pole. This explains why fossilized tropical forests, dating back tens of millions of years, are found in Antarctica. This canopy would have shielded living organisms from harsh cosmic radiation. It allowed DNA to function without mutational errors for centuries. When this canopy was disrupted by an asteroid impact, pressure sharply dropped. Oxygen became much less concentrated. For the giants, this was a profoundly damaging development. The square-cube law is unforgiving to larger beings. If height increases by 3 times, body mass increases by 27 times. But the cross-sectional area of bones only increases by 9. In these new conditions, a giant skeleton would begin to fail under its own weight. Their lungs would struggle to oxygenate blood from the thinned air. Those who survived faced gradual degradation. Each successive generation experienced shortened lifespans and reduced stature. This aligns with biblical descriptions following the flood. The lifespan of patriarchs dramatically falls from Noah's 900 years to Abraham's 175. If giants truly vanished, why does our own psychology still bear their trace? Radiologists describe the uncanny valley effect. Humans experience irrational discomfort or revulsion when encountering a being. One that looks almost human, but with subtly distorted proportions. Mannequins, robots, or large dolls can evoke a profound unease that is difficult to explain logically. Evolutionary biologists connect every instinctive fear to a specific predator from our species' past. We fear snakes because they hunted our ancestors. We fear the dark because predators once lurked there. What predator lies behind the fear of a humanoid figure of incorrect size? This fear could only have formed if our species lived alongside large, bipedal human hunters. The folklore of every nation confirms this ancient fear. The fairy tale giant is never a wise teacher. Instead, he is always a devourer, sniffing the air for human flesh. From Odysseus and Polyphemus to Jack and the Beanstalk. If this is merely a metaphor, why is it identical among peoples who never had contact? There is one striking detail that connects many disparate pieces of evidence at teeth. Dozens of reports from Ohio and Tennessee mention a single trait. A complete double row of teeth, polydontia, or extra teeth, is exceedingly rare in modern humans. It usually involves only 1 or 2 supernumerary teeth. A complete double row has never been recorded in modern dentistry. Its mass appearance is an anomaly, not pathology. Such a powerful chewing apparatus would be an adaptation for a diet of coarse vegetation or raw meat, including bones. This points to a distinct biological species, rather than merely diseased members of Homo sapiens. Physical anthropology confirms that human height has fluctuated dramatically depending on nutrition, climate, and genetics. The average man in medieval Europe was 165 centimeters tall. Cro-Magnons of the Paleolithic often exceeded 180 centimeters. This 15-centimeter difference over thousands of years demonstrates adaptability. Our species' height is dependent on environmental conditions. If an environment for large humanoids existed in the past, a population reaching 2.5 or 3 meters would not be fantasy. Along the Ohio and Mississippi valleys, settlers found not untouched forests. They found ruins of a sprawling, Cyclopean civilization. Thousands of artificial hills and embankments covered the land. They formed perfect circles, squares, and octagons, discernible only from above. At the Newark Earthworks in Ohio, a giant octagon connects to a perfect circle. It is large enough to encompass the Great Pyramid of Giza. These structures were meticulously oriented to lunar cycles that repeat only once every 18.5 years. Indigenous tribes told settlers these were not their constructions. They belonged to a people who lived there long before them. They called them ancient sorcerers and warriors, whom their ancestors exterminated in a great war for survival. When farmers excavated these mounds, they found those very giants. They were wrapped in intricate textiles and adorned with copper ornaments. Their bones rested within stone crypts lined with mica. The burials indicated these were not ordinary community members. This was a ruling caste, an elite of an ancient world, buried with honors befitting kings. The final question posed by all these testimonies concerns not the past, but the present. If their bones were found by the hundreds and structures still stand, if sacred texts speak of them, what have we truly lost? Perhaps we lost not merely a chapter from history books. We lost a broader understanding of humanity's potential to exist in forms we can barely imagine. Our stature, lifespan, and abilities may not represent our species' ceiling, but only its temporary state, dictated by the atmosphere. If environmental conditions shift once more, no one can truly predict what we ourselves might become. The greatness of a civilization is not measured by its body size,